Welcome to my imagined context, where I am a high school educator who has created an introductory sociology course. This course is welcome to be taken by any student, regardless of grade level, as I want to show them the world through a sociological lens. This course will be different from other social science courses, as I would like to get away from the textbook reliance and just writing research papers. I don't want students to be overwhelmed and just feel like they're putting pen to paper all day while waiting for instruction. I want them to have ownership in this learning experience, and that begins with me. I want to create a safe and supportive learning environment that helps them gain a deeper understanding of the world around them. I want to promote their critical thinking, creativity, and independence, which are skills they will need outside of the classroom. This is about sociology and the world around us in real time. As I stated earlier, achieving my goals begins with me. To help my students understand the world around them, I have to understand them first. This will ultimately depend on my observation and how I adapt to my diverse learners. The effectiveness of the adaptation relies on a proper student profile that models the learner adequately and precisely. I'm a firm believer that no one knows the student better than the student themselves, so I have to get this information from the actual source. I want to give my students the opportunity to fill out a learner profile. This will allow the students to share their strengths, challenges, preferences, and needs as a learner. The profile I chose will also give me intel into their personality and their interests. This information is crucial to me because it will help me tailor my instruction to better meet the needs of my students. As an educator, I must recognize the value of individual differences within learning and instruction. Taking all of this into account will help me give my students a better, personalized educational experience. Before we begin our activity, we will engage in a pre learning activity. I will hand out a worksheet with key terms and concepts that we haven't covered yet. I want my students to spend some time reflecting on these terms and concepts and write a response as to what comes to mind first. What do these terms mean in their world? After the allotted time has passed, they will share the response with the class. I will give them time to have a nice class discussion, and the following I will provide an overview of the terms and concepts so everyone can see how their perspectives matched up with the actual meaning. This activity will help me understand where my students are at the beginning of our learning journey. Now that we have a better understanding of the key terms and concepts, we will be watching the film The Blind Side. I must add, one of my favorite movies of all time. The key terms and concepts that they just reflected on and discussed earlier will now be seen throughout the movie. They will be given a worksheet with questions that correspond with the themes seen throughout the film. As they watch the movie, I want them to pay close attention to the themes from a sociological perspective. This activity will allow us to apply what we have learned to a real world scenario and engage with the content on a deeper level. After the completion of the film, we will then engage in a post learning activity. Students will be prompted to write a reflective journal entry where they will reflect on the movie's content and themes from their sociological imagination. They will be encouraged to make connections to their own lives and what they see in society. This activity will allow them to process their thoughts, express their opinions, and critically analyze the movie's impact on their understanding of social issues. This activity will help us understand where we have come from and where we can go from here. One way I want to differentiate content is by allowing students to see historical events from multiple perspectives. For instance, in a unit on social inequality, I would love for students to see the perspectives of the victims of inequality, media, societal responses, and from the leaders of social movements raising awareness about these inequalities. This approach will give students a better overall understanding of these events. As far as the process, collaborative learning will be established in all lessons of the course. This will be done through class discussions and group collaborations. In this course, students will learn a lot about diversity, Therefore, collaboration is the best way to show them that diversity. The classroom is inclusive, and there will be different perspectives throughout our time together. Getting to know and learn from one another will be evaluating for differentiating instruction. As far as product goes, students will have the freedom to choose a topic related to any of the theories and concepts or movements that we have discussed and present their projects in a unique way that interests them. The aim of this final project is to demonstrate the students' knowledge and understanding of the course material in a way that interests them. By the end of the unit, I hope that my passion for sociology will be contagious and that the students will be excited to present their final projects to the class. I plan to use two strategies to differentiate my instruction and provide a more personalized learning experience for my students. The first strategy is varied journal prompts, where I encourage my students to analyze and reflect on their personal and sociological perspectives in their journals. This helps students make connections with the course material and apply it to their own lives. It also fosters critical thinking, interpretation, and communication skills. The second strategy is the establishment of learning stations. This allows students to choose which station aligns with their interests and preferences, giving them exposure to different sociological concepts and perspectives. First, I want to create a learning environment that is student centered and inclusive. I was inspired by Reynolds and Kearns' backward design planner, which facilitates setting learning priorities and directs how class time can best be spent. To measure the success of this goal, I will rely on student feedback. I want my students to have a say in the direction of the class and how it can be improved going forward. My second goal is to provide authentic, real world learning experiences that relate to my students' interests. To measure this goal, I will be using Burton's framework of authentic assessment design. My assessments will help students use their sociological imagination and demonstrate their understanding in a meaningful way. My final goal is to regularly self assess and reflect to ensure that my vision for my students and the course is being met. I want to create an interactive learning experience for my students, which includes class discussions, self reflective journaling, and product differentiation. I will guide my students towards empowerment through my instruction, ensuring that they own their learning experience. To help me achieve this goal, I will use John Spencer's Making the Shift from Student Engagement to Student Empowerment as a resource. Educators, our primary goal is to ensure that our students succeed in our classrooms. To do this, we must implement a plan that focuses on creating a supportive and inclusive learning environment that is interactive. This starts with our ability to differentiate instruction to meet the diverse learning needs of our students. But the opportunities for learning and growth don't just stop in the classroom. As educators, we also have the opportunity to learn from each other. Collaboration with colleagues can provide valuable insight and learning opportunities. By sharing our philosophies and approaches to education, we can gain valuable feedback, new perspectives that can help us improve our instruction. And this will help create a positive class culture. In summary, by focus on differentiation, creating a supportive and inclusive learning environment, collaborating with colleagues, and continuing our professional development, we can ensure that our students are set up for success in our classrooms and beyond.